This is Gateway City Sports.
It's a trap!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
This is the Team of Rivals podcast.
Everything you want to hear from the big sports to the big screen.
He's all by himself, fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No! Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Doesn't like you. I don't like you either.
Time winding down. Michael for three. Yeah! Yes! She is gone! I don't believe what I just saw. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. You believe in miracles?
Yes! You may fire when ready.
What?
Hey, Cubs and Cardinals fans. Ron said we didn't have enough enthusiasm, so I'm trying to bring it. This week, the Team of Rivals podcast, proud members of the Gateway City Sports Network, where you can find great podcast and blog content. And you should be grateful because we're back here on July 14th because we weren't here last week and we're not going to be here next week because, damn it, it's the All-Star break next week and nobody cares about All-Star week.
Did you see the uniforms?
You can follow us on social media.
Hold on. Did you see the uniforms? I don't want to bust up your intro. Did you see the?
I'm sorry. Did I what?
Did you see the All-Star uniforms?
I did. They're terrible. We'll get to that.
Okay,
follow us on social media at Team of Rivals Pod or find us online at teamofrivalspodcast.com. For those of you who prefer to watch the show, we also post to YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. So hit the like and subscribe buttons and be sure that notifications are on so that you know anytime we post new content. Holy shit, guys. The apparently Baltimore Orioles are good. And we owe Al a great big fat apology because the AL East is entirely over 500, whereas the shit show that is the NL Central is what I think there's two teams that are over 500. Anyway, joining me for this week's show, co-founder of Team of Rivals and number 104 in the 2021 edition of the Top Cards on Twitter, Ron Nuttall, and our permanent occasional guest host. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. He even put a hat on tonight. Elliott Dewey.
Hey, Tennessee Smokies.
What is that hat?
The best baseball I've seen in the last couple of weeks. It was the Tennessee Smokies.
Oh, so you haven't been to a Cubs game lately?
Oh, that is correct. No, just watched.
To see the Mets play and be up 6-0. Yeah.
Yes. I had it on in the background. It is not great.
I switched over to it, so I'm watching 120 inches worth of Cubs right now.
I got 120 inches worth of Cubs for you.
Oh boy. You sure?
Pretty sure.
All right.
How you doing,
I don't
boys?
know. I don't know if they'll get there, but okay.
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right. So let's look.
Yes.
We discussed this a couple weeks ago, Elliott, when you were on, and Ron, we discussed it last week. And sure as the sun comes up in the morning, don't be fooled by the Cubs having a hot streak because they immediately cool off. And I think it's a done deal with Kyle Hendricks basically shut down for the year.
Yep.
That Wilson Contreras, David Robertson, probably Michael Givens,
Ian Happ,
probably all out the door in the next 3 weeks. So can't imagine that they're heading south, although actually, Wilson Contreras' availability brings me to my first question tonight, Ron. Mm-hmm. Is Yachty just retired and he hasn't told anybody?
You kind of wonder. He's starting a rehab.
He's back home, right?
He was back home. He's starting a rehab assignment, I think, towards the end of the month. So he'll be back, and maybe a little bit of fire in the belly, having rested almost a month. A little bit more serious of an injury than I think what was communicated or what most people thought. I tell you, like say what you want about the guy and numbers and everything, but if you look at the record when he's around, sometimes it is quite different than when he's not. And I think what this brings me back to a tweet a couple years ago, and I don't know if it was 2020, maybe it was 2019, but somebody, some Twitter guy out there waving a finger in the air, declaring that the Cardinals' best catcher wasn't even available. He was referring to Andrew Kisner, who was a minor leaguer at the time. I'm not even sure he was on the 40-man roster, but was already declaring Andrew Kisner being the best available Cardinals catcher, that they wouldn't play. And all I'm saying right now is we got a pretty good sample size of the guy now.
He's not good.
I'm not saying he's bad, but he is not Yachty. And I don't really care if what you want to point at on the hitting department this year, but he's not him. Nobody can be him. So anyway, I just recall bullshit like that happening all the time. If you're not seeing it now, I don't know what you're looking at. And all the other people who are angry that the Cardinals keep these veterans around, at least a handful of them, right? I mean, what a negative to have guys like this that can help out young guys, even set an example or, take care of what's needed in a clubhouse. But now it's all icky, and people point to it and say it's nostalgia. It's the only reason they're doing it. I don't know. I call a little bit of bullshit on that. But that's where I'll leave it.
Do the Cardinals get active and go after somebody like Wilson Contreras?
This is, you know what? Let's just go back and let's just play midseason last year, and you're probably going to have the same exact response from me. So I feel no different about it. This team right now, and this week is a little microcosm of what's happened, right? So they just optioned down to guys they've been using in relief roles that have actually been quite successful over the last, I don't know, call it month, 2 weeks, month, and option them down to bring back two guys that were two of the worst, or continue to use two of the guys that are some of the worst offenders in the bullpen. They've given up a lot of home runs. They've given up, I want to say, like Bernie pointed this out on an article he wrote for Scoops with Danny Mack. These guys have given up the majority of the badness. You can point to two guys down there, and they bring them both, and then they option two young guys back down to AAA. It's just crazy. Like it's not like any of these guys are being paid a hoard of money. And the pressure like that, right? You've got a big contract, multiple years on a guy. You're reluctant to bring the other guy up, because you feel like you got to squeeze whatever that value was to justify it. And we're just seeing the same things happen here. I know those guys don't have options. So if you're not going to play them, you're DFAing them, you're just walking away. But if it's weakening your team by putting the wrong guys out there,
you might as well DFA.
You might as well do it. I mean, what the hell are you in it for this year? You've got one more run with, three Cardinals legends that are playing right now, and they're done after this year. Well, I know Wainwright's still a little bit of a question, but you got to think, they're not going to play together anymore. At least two of the three are gone. And I don't know, it just feels like they're just pissing it away. And it's hard for me to say that this team is a move or two away from being a realistic contender, something to push them over the top. I don't know I don't think there are a couple moves out there that can be made, certainly that will help them get a little better, maybe bridge a gap, but I don't think there's enough moves out there to push them over the top. You're going to run into the East, you're going to run into the West, and I don't think anybody's getting through any of those. Not from the Central, for sure. So, I don't know, it's a catch-22, Elliott, because I could probably make a case why they could be active.
No, and you got to think about the future too, because you are losing Yachty. So why not go after him and maybe sign him to an extension?
I think Yachty is retiring after this year, it's totally fine.
He said that, hasn't he?
Yeah, he said this is his last year. They've got a couple catchers. Kisner's certainly a serviceable catcher, and I don't have a problem seeing him. If he's going to be their catcher next year, I don't have a problem with that. If they want to, Ivan Herrera, who had been called up, that is the Cardinals' best catching prospect. I think he's going to be I think they're probably looking at him as the long-term future, right? But just not quite ready yet. He needs some more reps down in the minor leagues. Either of those two guys, they're going to be the Cardinals' catcher next year. I wouldn't have a lot of pushback on that. So I don't think they're going to go dealing for that. Maybe for a backup, but how exciting is it to talk about a backup catcher midseason? Nobody wants to hear us talk about that. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to think about it. But I just don't know, Elliott. Are they going to be active? Active to what extent? Like checking in on a few things, but getting serious. They'll check in, and I don't think they'll get serious about anything. Best case scenario, it's another like Lester hat.
Are they gonna march out to the tune of "We like the team that we got. We think we can win with these guys"?
It'll be something like that with a little bit of sprinkle, with a big heaping helping of, we'll wait for some guys to get hot and figure some things out because we
just need to get healthy.
Yeah,
it will be okay.
Which is the biggest freaking excuse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't want to spend money.
You know what? It's like a politician. When things get too complicated, they go to that well of lame ass excuses that we've heard year over year over year.
Yeah.
Happy talk.
Yeah.
Come on, Ron, you said this was going to be a happy show.
That's fine. I'm going to bust in here and do a non-baseball related topic. Do you guys have any like smart speakers at home, like an Alexa or a?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably have the Hub, right, Pete?
No, I have
You have like an Echo Dot or
no, I can't think of the name.
The Google Homes.
No, the Apple.
Yeah, the
smart home.
HomePod. Yeah,
HomePod.
okay. So
yeah.
Pete stayed on brand there. I knew he would have stayed Apple on that.
That was an easy one.
If I would have done that out of the gate, Pete, I probably would have been right there with you. But I started out with the Echo device, the Alexa devices, which are fine. But you can, purchase things on these smart speakers. All you have to do is talk to it and say buy it now or whatever.
Uh-oh.
So this is while we were gone, my wife and I last week. This is what was captured on my Alexa app.
Buy me a laptop, computer laptop.
Okay. Followed by.
Buy it now.
No!
That was Grandpa in the background catching it. So a laptop was purchased. I was able to cancel it in time.
Oh no!
Oh yeah. And then once I figured out that this thing records everything, I wanted to hear some other shit that my kids say to the speaker. So a couple more.
Shut up.
No.
And then.
Computer, shut up.
Yeah. So it's real interesting when you flip through your app and they figure out, Dad can hear everything I'm saying to this. I won't play the rest of it, but yeah.
So what laptop did it buy? Because all they said was buy a laptop.
She bought two.
One was it went to probably the most expensive option. I have to.
No. Actually,
it
was
top option.
No, right. It was like a Chromebook. It was like a $329 Chromebook.
That's all.
That's it. Now that was the first one.
You should have kept it. That could have been your porn computer.
That could have been.
Just stash
most
it
of them don't take
upstairs.
credit cards anymore, so I got to figure out another way.
You won't even have to clear your history on that one.
That's right. You can just leave that one alone, honey. I'm going to go up and work in the attic.
In the attic, you know how hot it is up there. I'd die. The second
like
laptop,
Barber.
the second laptop was is a little bit more high end. It was a MacBook Air.
Nice. Okay.
Pete,
now we're talking.
You would have let that one go, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I could use a new computer.
No, but I had unfortunately for her, I did have to cancel both of them and disable that ability on all speakers in the house until I can figure out how to just tune it into mine. But yeah, so that was probably the highlight of the trip, or at least the one I got the biggest laugh out of.
So they must have witnessed you guys buying stuff on those speakers.
No, I don't think I have ever.
No?
I don't think I have ever bought anything just over voice. It has always been just on the phone app or on the
honey,
desktop.
we're running out of toilet paper. Alexa, play toilet paper on my.
Yep, nope. I don't think I've ever done that at home. I've never used that, so I don't know where they picked this up at. But yeah, she figured it out. But yeah,
Buy me a laptop, computer laptop. Buy it now.
No.
I love the no.
well, it ignored Grandpa. You see a bunch of.
Well, as soon as it heard that, buy it now.
Yeah. Well, there was several attempts to cancel my order, but that didn't happen. So I had to do it.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was a little bit of a breather there.
No, thank you for that. That was outstanding. So hey, let's talk about some good news. We don't need to be all disappointed. Rules changes are coming. Ron, we touched on it a little bit, but we got a little bit more detail. They're going to pie slice the field to eliminate the shift. we had talked about it a little bit. Where do you guys land on that?
I'll let Elliott go first. I've been talking a lot.
No, your daughter's been talking way too much. Hey, Alexa.
Buy a laptop.
Shut up.
No.
I mean, everybody loses it, so we'll see more action on the field. I feel like, because you're not going to have these guys sitting in between, the right field and the shortstop sitting at second. So these guys who are major puller, that pull the ball hard, they might be getting a few more base hits. Yeah. But how much how much more offense is this going to generate?
Yeah,
we don't know.
That's a good question. I mean, my thought in terms of baseball, I know sports are different, right? There's illegal defenses in basketball, and there's illegal formations in football. At least there's illegal formations on offense. I don't know so much about defense, but
no, there is too.
Is there? So, if you want to use that argument, you'd say that, well, then there should be some kind of guardrails put up for baseball. Me personally, how I felt about it was more, hey, look, if somebody's dumb enough to want to put everybody in right field, and a guy figures out how to actually go with a pitch and pop it over in left field, well, that's on the defense. Hey, put them wherever you want. But a product of this could be that we do see a few more hits. So I don't know, man.
I just want to see more balls in play.
I do too, Pete. And that's why, we can get into the batting average argument too, which I do all the time on Twitter, and I just love it. So we can talk about that later. But I'm agree with you, man. I mean, whenever you use the argument, well, yeah, batting average does mean something versus somebody that tells you that batting average means nothing. Like, I like to see the ball put in play, and then I always get the argument, well, so you must value singles more than home runs. No, dumbass. A home run is still putting a ball in play. A single is putting a ball in play. A triple, a line drive to the gap, a bunt, anything, right? I just like to see...
A strikeout is not putting a ball
exactly,
in play.
Yes. Trying to, grip and rip porn swing is not, that's not putting a ball in play necessarily, right? Oh, 1 out of 10 times. Well, that's fun. I love going to the game watching math. I've heard that argument too. Well, hitting more home runs and more balls in the air that's just math. You can score more runs that way. And I'm always thinking, is that true? Can you?
If that's the case, and I'm going to tell my son, I'm pulling his registration. I did it right before the game. He's not playing fall ball. I'm going to contract with the White Sox because nobody wants to go to that stadium anyway. And I'm going to see if I can get, 30,000 fans to watch him do his multiplication tables.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's just math.
It's just math.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's a problem these days because I can barely get through a game.
Oh my God. I got to tell you guys that. We'll come back around. No. We'll keep
Go ahead
going.
and do it. Okay. Well,
I was just going to say, we were there for the Tigers White Sox game.
Mm-hmm.
We were texting back and forth. That stadium was over half empty. What a freaking embarrassment.
Yeah. And that's around the league though. I know the White Sox suffer from it in Chicago, but you go to other places and it's just as bad. I mean, even teams with good records.
Anyway.
Yep.
So back to banning the shift. Well, and there's talk now that they're going to add robo-umps in, and I don't know. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Where are you guys on this? Because there's a part of me that likes it, but there's part that's reluctant. But I don't want to jump into it and monopolize the conversation before you guys get to jump in and be wrong.
It takes away that part of the game where, because it's all going to be by lasers, and there's always that guy you won't be able, if there's a batter who really knows the strike zone, it's going to be perfect for him because he can lay off those edge pitches and be great. There's always going to be those fringe hitters who are that pitcher is going to be able to move outside a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more and get them to swing at it. But then there's the guys who live around those edges. And if the batter knows that they live around those edges, it's going to be tough because they're going to have to start throwing in the zone to get these guys to swing.
Yeah, I always thought too, it's going to be a huge advantage for the hitters, I think.
Yeah.
And that's the part of me that
I think that's what Manfred wants, though.
Well, we've been well on record here. I really don't give a shit what he wants or what he thinks. Maybe I agree with some of the sentiment that comes from him, but the way he's gone about his business, we're all ready for a new commissioner, but that's probably going to, we're going to be in our golden years, I think, before that happens. But anyway, it's going to be a big advantage for the hitters. If Pete and I, you just heard what we said. We like the ball and play more often. Maybe somehow that works out better. But the fan in me that's watched this game closely for almost 40 years hates to see human elements taken away from it and having things a little bit more mathematical, a little bit more mechanical. Look at what's happened with analytics and StatCast, right? Like we treat these guys, and organizations think of these guys as commodities instead of players, right? So anything that takes a little bit of that humanness out of the game, even umpires that fuck up calls, what are we going to bitch about now? Right.
I mean, with most of the calls, we've got instant replay. They can challenge.
Well, that's another whole thing, though, that I know maybe we can talk about this at the end. I want to hear what Pete thinks about this robo umping. But look, as far as instant replay, they need to open up those challenges to more things, like the check swing. Right. If we're gonna challenge everything. I mean, we're gonna challenge a limited number of things. They really should be able to challenge. I don't know what else is not challengeable, but I know check swings are one of them. And it really, really should be, right? If you're gonna, if we're gonna be able to challenge a double play or a bang bang play at first base that can affect the outcome of the game, they really do need to be able to, I think, challenge that as well. But
and I don't disagree. I think check swing should, and you should have a definition of what a check swing is, because I think it depends on the umpire who's at that corner base.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then also, since nobody seems to know what it is anyway, how about we be able to challenge balks?
Balk.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what the hell a balk is, so have that be challenged. Have it be. How about that?
Except who was that ump? Bach and Bob.
It has to be confirmed by the replay.
Who was that ump? They called him Bach and Bob. He was the one that always called it. I mean, he's probably the authority on it, but. Yeah, I agree.
You've got a replay ump who's there in the park, who's watching everything. He has to concur with the balk call before it actually goes through. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like you both got to turn your keys in the nuclear silo.
Yeah, and they should open it up to all of it, Pete. Like, hey, the guy was out of the baseline or not, or hitter's interference or hit by pitch. All of that shit should be available to watch.
Maybe instead of going straight to robo umps, maybe you do it like tennis, where you get a couple of, like, a batter can actually be like, no, that was a ball. I want to challenge that.
Well, and that's what they're talking about.
You put that in place.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I have with that, right, is that you're going to necessarily limit the number of challenges.
Yes.
And it's going to take time to challenge it, right?
Yeah.
So great. Now we're slowing down the game again. I mean, honestly, what I would love, and I think that
you put it in the ear of the umpire because you have it already going.
Correct. And it only alerts if they miss the call.
Correct.
It doesn't need to be calling every single pitch. Let the ump make the calls. And if it's and this is what I think. If it's challenged, egregious. Yes. They need to tune it, and they need to say, okay, here's where the strike zone is, but we're going to give you an indeterminate amount of space on either side. We're not going to tell the umps what it is. We're not going to tell them if it's 1.5 inches. We're not going to tell them if it's 3 inches, but there's going to be a gray area where we're going to allow it to be called a strike, and it'll be a strike, right? Because if that's what your zone is, then we'll allow you to call it. But I agree with you, Elliott. It needs to be something that's in, just like it is with what is it, Pitchcast or whatever the system is that they're now all using, so that the umpire knows right away, and there's no need to challenge it. Yeah. Because the umpire is able to correct it right there in the moment.
Yeah. The balls and strikes get a little complicated because every batter is going to think that called third strike wasn't a strike. I think before we go full blown, robot laser beam umpire at home plate calling balls and strikes, I really think that there's steps they might be able to take to actually improve those guys' performance and help them out a little bit. None of us have
but
done
that would require them to put in the work, and it's clear that some of them don't.
I don't disagree, Pete. And I don't know if this happens. I don't know what those umpires do in between innings. They look at a chart of some of their calls. I know that there's a Twitter account that that monitors.
They get reports after the game.
Yeah, they really need to get them in game though. Like, what are they doing in between innings that's so busy? I mean, if that umpire's all over the place, he's calling inconsistently. Like, there should be somebody at that backstop, somebody back there
with an iPad.
With an iPad,
walk over to him and say, "Look at this.
You are missing.
You really thought this was a strike?"
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, and they should be open to that. There's what are they? The jaws made of glass? Like, they can't. They can't take criticism.
And look, it's a 2.5 minute break or 3 minute break in between.
They can do it.
in between half innings, there's more than enough time for them to come out with an iPad or something.
But
And
I'd like to
report.
see steps like that taken before we go robot umpire. That's just my personal opinion on it. And
I don't disagree. But if they're going to do it, then it needs to be an instantaneous correction. It can't be more of this slowing the game down with challenges.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you're going to run into the same thing. That was obviously a strike. Do I challenge it now in the first inning when it's my number 3 batter and they're already 2 out? Or do I save that in my pocket? Look, and that's the problem that I've always had with instant. It's the one place where I think that soccer, hockey, basketball get it right. If there's anybody who thinks that it's an incorrect call, it's immediately addressed. The coaches don't have to ask for a challenge. And if they get it wrong, they don't lose their opportunity to challenge. Just shouldn't that be that's why we have instant replay, right? It's to get the calls right.
Yep.
And ultimately that's what we want. And you know what? If it means that there need to be 20 reversed calls in a game because you have an incompetent set of umps, well, then maybe they shouldn't be umping it.
That's true.
Seriously, by limiting the number of challenges, what you're doing is you're protecting the umpires. And you're making it seem like, oh, well, they're not that bad. Well, yeah, if I know that I only have 2 challenges, I got to be very judicious in when I use them. But, Angel Hernandez is behind the plate. I'm going to need 50 challenges.
Did you see the foul ball he called last week?
Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't see it.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. He had the best view of anybody in that stadium of that ball. And replay or not, man, that thing hit the line.
Yeah.
Obvious to the world. That's one example. And I know if you look at him,
there was one 2 nights ago with Ian Happ where he hit a foul ball down the first base line and it landed like 2 feet foul. And he stopped running and he turned around and the umpire called it fair. And he's like, how is that fair? And you can't challenge that.
So stupid. Those are the challenges we're talking about. If you're going to have an instant replay or a challenge system, I think not having a foul ball up for debate is just stupid. Like, why is that one excluded from a challenge? It makes no sense to me at all.
No, 0 sense.
And if there is something, that's the other. And see, if you want to limit it, if you want to have a limited number of challenges, then you should continue to be able to challenge every time you get it right. Because something obvious or something that's so obvious like that, where they look at the replay and it takes them 30 seconds to say, yeah, no, that was a foul ball.
Like if they
that shouldn't count against you.
If they can look up at the scoreboard and see that they got it wrong, they shouldn't even have to call New York. There's your evidence.
The coach shouldn't even have to fix it. If the crew chief can take a look up at the scoreboard and say, hey, you know what, you missed that one, Angel. Yeah. I'm overturning you.
Yeah.
Then just fix it. And that's always been the problem I've had with instant replay. If it's right, just fix it. And I mean, I'm watching more and more European football, and they've got the whole VAR system, and that checks everything. It checks whether or not it's a goal. It checks whether guys are offside or not. Like, I played soccer, Ron. I know that your kids have played soccer. I don't know if
Eli played soccer,
and you, right when you're growing up, the side judges, they're running up and down the lines with their flags, and they're not just declaring whether or not the ball is out of bounds, but they're also trying to determine whether or not somebody's offside. Well, they don't have to do that anymore in the professional leagues. They have VAR, and that does the challenge. That determines whether or not somebody's offside. And there's no throwing a flag on the field. Yeah. It's just, hey, we want to get this right. We want the game to be fair. If we have the technology, let's use it.
Might as well. I mean, it's there.
Precisely. And that's the real problem that I have with it. It's there.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the Smokies. You, who are the Cubs going to trade away? I mean, they clearly have a glut of talent right now. So who is it that in 2 or 3 years they're going to foolishly trade away for a pre-hype or a midst hype Jose Quintana that's going to drive us nuts as Cubs fans in 5 years because we traded away an oft injured but big slugger and the league leader in strikeouts?
I tell you what, I can't remember his name, but that shortstop who's like 6'6" is absolutely enormous.
Are you talking about the one down in single A?
No, double A. He's with the Tennessee Smokies.
I don't remember what this guy was for Kannapolis. That's the White Sox though. I don't know what I'm talking about. It wasn't the Pelicans. So sorry, I had my teams wrong there.
No, I mean it was a really good guy. I tell you what, this ballpark is super fun. Because we have Eli there, and 8-year-olds really can't sit still for more than maybe 20 minutes to a half hour at a time before they want to either go do something or go eat something or whatever. So they have they've got this little bounce house park on this huge bed. There's like 5 bounce houses. It's all free. I mean, it's your admission. Great beer selection, great seltzer selection, really cool gift shop, and just a ton of food from the area down there. So
who was the monster that you were talking about? Bryce Ball or Matt Mervis?
Both. Mervis is huge and Bryce Ball is huge.
Bryce Ball is listed on the website as 6'6", 240.
He's enormous.
That's a big shortstop.
So
he's not. He's a first baseman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's like Troy Tulowitzki territory there.
And then Canario is pretty big too. Canario's a good ball player. So great, 8-0.
Yeah, Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso just struck. I saw it. That's why I was smiling.
Yeah. Yeah, it just hit a monster homer.
Yeah, he did.
So yeah, I mean, and Chase Strumpf is on the team, but we've seen him a couple of times up with the big club just for injury call-ups. I know that. So, but yeah, I mean, and then what is it? Jake Slaughter. Yep. That kid's good too. So
who was on the mound when you were there? Who'd you get to see?
Oh God, I'm gonna have to go back and look. I should be able to see it in their schedule. I'll tell you who I saw.
You didn't get Max Payne by any chance, did you?
I'm pretty sure I didn't.
He's a great story. One of those self-made kids who actually paid attention to the math and turned himself into a legit prospect when he wasn't one.
It was Powell.
Okay.
So Powell pitched 4 innings. Actually, Bain pitched 2 in relief. So
this is all fascinating, guys. Which ones are they going to trade that you're going to hate?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
I don't think they will. I think it's.
I was hoping PCA would get called up before we got down there.
I mean, I think Hap's going to be gone. Contreras is likely to be gone. It's too bad.
I think it's far more likely that Contreras.
Yeah. I think, and I see Contreras going to probably the Mets, and because they're in desperate need of a catcher.
Yeah.
And a DH.
Yeah. And he can do both.
Yep.
So,
well, it's too bad that maybe Hendricks went down, because that could be another one, even though, they probably have a little bit more control on him.
Yeah. But I'm not sure with the way he's been performing this year, if they really would have got much.
2 years.
Yeah.
Except when he plays St. Louis.
That's right.
That's true. In St. Louis.
They're up there throwing like magic dust at them. Like they just can't. Like, he is a wizard in St. Louis. Like they cannot figure him out.
Hey, maybe he just needs to pitch there. You guys can take him.
Just, I laugh about that now.
Give us your best.
I laugh my ass off now, but that's probably like at some point in time, someday, I'm going to see that guy who always looks like he's smelling a fart in a Cardinals uniform.
You mean Sad Kyle? That's
Sad Kyle. Is that what he is these days?
Kyle.
He's been perpetually sad.
He
Kyle.
He doesn't smile.
Oh, you bet. Chicago has been
he'll throw an.
It's been a bastion for players. It's been a bastion for pitchers that don't smile, and it really has been. You get John Lackey, who never. I don't think he smiled since 2002.
No, but there's a difference between Lester and Lackey and Hendricks, right? Lester and Lackey were pissed on the mound.
Yes.
Hendricks is very disappointed.
What about? Yeah, it's true. It is a different look.
That's true.
It is a different non-smile persona. Like, yes, Kyle Hendricks looks like he just was just told no, he couldn't get that puppy like every day. While Arrieta just was angry that angry about something. I went on about that too long. But you're right. It is a different flavor of non-happy.
Jake just didn't get enough of his Pilates in that day, so he was upset.
He was annoyed that this baseball game got in the way of his exercise.
That's right.
I got to tell you, this is actually this is relevant to the conversation. A lady who I have been seeing of late, in the course of conversations about many things, we've connected on baseball, and she doesn't like the high socks look.
Really?
I was like, how can you not like the high socks look? It's so classic. And she said,
That's my favorite look.
She said, I used to, but Jake Arrieta ruined it for me. And I was like, wait, what? And she said, I could not stand that guy. I said, you need to meet my best friend, Ron.
I don't know. It's true. I mean, there's some players.
What about the flat bill?
I hate that.
I mean, it all goes into it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had the two things that I agree with her. Now, there are some players that can wear it well, and they look
the flat
odd.
bill or the high socks?
The high socks. I'm starting there. Nobody wears the flat bill worth the shit, in my opinion.
I think the high socks look good on everybody.
No, I'm gonna tell you who they don't. Albert has worn them a few times this year.
Yes, he has.
He does not. That's not a good look for him. It just looks odd. Like that high sock.
You've gotten used to seeing him in his pajama pants.
No, that's Jeff Bagwell.
Have you noticed that? I didn't notice it until I actually really was paying attention when the boy and I were down in St. Louis. There really are three ways to wear your baseball pants, right? You can go high socks.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go long pants, there are two cuts. There's the tight long pants, and then there are the pajama pants.
But you know what's
the Jeff Bagwell pants. And I hadn't really noticed it until I was actually paying attention.
The look that has gone away since Greg Maddux retired is the 3/4 pants.
Yep. With the stirrup socks.
With the sanitaries.
No, I mean, I don't know if they're called sanitaries, but they're socks with stirrups stitched on the side of them.
Yeah. They were well, yeah.
I thought the sanitaries were the white ones.
I bet his weren't stitched on the socks. I bet he had sanitaries.
No. You could see where the line stopped just above the ankle bone.
Oh, could you?
Yes. Yeah, he wore those socks.
Oh, and that's disappointing.
Those used to be the socks that I had worn in Little League travel baseball, where they were newer. They were newer on the seam, but that's where everybody had the tight. Basically they were tighter baseball pants. They were 3/4. So they came down to about your calf, mid calf, and I had sanitaries, which were the white socks you put underneath of your stirrups.
Right.
That was something I think many baseball players wear now.
What a great look!
There was this innovation to make life easier on all of us, where the stripes were stitched in on the sides of the socks, and I'll say, easier process, absolutely. As far as look, they look like shit.
Yeah,
but that's a look that has disappeared. Has died with Greg Maddux's retirement.
Hey, since we're on the uniform topic,
I'm gonna find a picture of it and put it up here for you. But
I'm gonna start paying attention to see if there's anybody in MLB who wears it anymore.
I can't imagine anybody does. All right, so since we're on the topic of uniforms, Ron.
Yes.
Talk about the All-Star uniforms.
Oh,
I know
boy.
You got to be in your bonnet.
Yeah, let me do what I'm doing here first. But I saw it, and it's one of those things where, hold on, I found a picture of Greg Maddux. Maybe he's wearing the socks.
We can also talk about the release. They showed the Cubs hats for the Field of Dreams game for next year too. So they released the hat style for that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
This one's a stupid ass video.
Have you seen them yet?
I have not.
So they have one where it's all dark navy blue with the Cubby Bear on it with the bat, and he looks like a freaking kangaroo.
Guys, can you see? You guys are in the way here. Hang on. If you look close, Pete, I can't zoom in.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
It stops
that's
right.
Bad.
It's a bad look. And for those of you listening on audio version, we're looking at a picture of they go 3/4 down the leg, they stop mid calf or just below the calf, and he's wearing a single pair of socks that have the blue stripes. This is a picture of his days with the Cubs. It says 1992, so he was young man here, but he wore these until he was done playing. Here's a more egregious version here, Pete.
That's terrible.
It's with the braids, and it stops right above
you know what
that
the real
bone
problem
of the
with
ankle.
that is? If you look at it, right, and this is where the sanitaries were so great, is that you pull it up your pants so that it went past the stirrup, right?
Yeah.
Like that was part of the uniform look. It wasn't just the stirrup. It was the bottom part of the stirrup that was so that your calf was the full color. That's what looked good. This is from a spectator. I never played. We know that already, though.
I am looking at the MLB All-Star Game uniforms for this year, and I will put those up here in a second. Here's the marketing picture they've been showing everybody here. Let me share this here in a second. Here we go. It's on that place where you can get all that juicy baseball insight, MLB.com. You know, we all clamor for that. Here it is, guys. So it maintains the integrity of the team uniforms as far as where logos go and everything else, but it sucks out all color, and I hate it.
Seriously, just these guys know who's on their team and who's not. Just go back to wearing your own uniforms.
Absolutely, and I think most, I don't know, I say most of us, I might be guessing and I might be wrong, but what I loved about the All-Star Game is, you know, they're representing their city, they're representing their team. The team colors are one of the most important things. Uniform's one thing. You take the color out of it, it's not the same. You put the color into it, you can change whatever you want around. You still know that blue and pinstripe. You still know that as a Cubs uniform. You still know the birds on the bat in red. You still know that as a St. Louis uniform. Yankee pinstripe, navy blue and pinstripes, that's a Yankees player, right? So you take the color out of it, it just... This is lifeless, guys. I hate it. Wear your own uniforms.
I don't mind the hats, but I would like the hats in the color, the regular color of the team uniform.
No, I want them both. Hats.
Yeah, you know, that was at least something that they did do for a while. That was at least a nod and an attempt, was that you still wore your cap. But I agree, Ron. Just wear your uniform.
Ron, I sent in the chat the Field of Dreams hat for the Cubs. Pull up the navy one.
Hang on. Now you're asking me to do work now.
This is compelling content for those who are listening.
It's so glad we don't stream anymore.
You guys are both giving me a hell of a lot of extra work in creating the video versions of this, because now I'm going to actually have to include all of this. Crap.
If you want my opinion, these are terrible. I agree. God damn, Pete, we're agreeing on most everything tonight.
I'm pretty sure the white with the stripes is a Reds cap.
Yes, correct. And it's a throwback to the old days.
In the navy one, the bear looks like a kangaroo.
The bear looks like it's holding something that shouldn't in its hand.
Yeah, what the hell did they do? That's not even... That's not
because
even the throwback of the Cubs logo.
It should be up here.
Well, whatever, but these new... City Connect uniforms. And look, I know we sound like get off our lawn guys, old men who don't like change,
cloud.
Which is shit, because we just said we would embrace change to rules, right? But this uniform thing, man, I'm just not on board with it. Look, some teams that have updated their uniforms over the years, look, I've liked them. I've liked the uniforms better. Improving uniforms for the most part. I have taken to that with a lot of teams. A lot of teams I don't care about. The Cardinals updated their uniforms not too long ago, but I love their Saturday home uniforms. They just, you know, they have the little bit, they say St. Louis on the front rather than the typical two birds on a bat. I don't really like the powder blues that they wear on Saturday road games, but I think the overall changes they've made to the uniform have been pretty good. So I'm not opposed to uniform changes, but these All-Star uniforms and what I'm looking at right here, which you guys have led me to here, Elliott, this Field of Dreams hats, man, that's some ugly shit on both sides. Agreed. The Wrigleyville uniforms too are hideous. Well,
and you know what it is, and this is something that had always been a convention, right? And and it was across sports. The convention used to be that when you were at home, you had your nickname on the uniform, right?
On the
so
road,
whether it
you
was
have
the
your
Cubs,
city.
the Bulls, the Bears, the White Sox, whatever, that's what was on the uniform.
Right.
And then when you were on the road, your city was on the uniform.
Yep.
So it was St. Louis, it was Chicago, and they've completely abandoned that now. And you don't have that. And that seems like one of those simple conventions, just like when you're at home. Well, although it's not consistent in across sports, but for most sports, when you're at home, you wear the whites. And when you're on the road, you wear your colored uniforms.
You know what? And that change has been made in hockey, right? Like over the last decade and a half to maybe 2 decades or whatever. But when I was taking to the sport, when I was a teenager, home uniforms were white in the NHL. And I got used to that, got out of the military, came home, what the bleep happened? I can't tell if they're home or away anymore. I still have not gotten used to the dark sweaters in hockey games. I don't either. I like the home white. I don't know why. I know the Bears don't do that either, right? Where they wear those shitty white jerseys on the road, but they deserve to wear shitty white jerseys on the road. So I don't mind it happening to the Bears. But yeah, NHL it's a difficult thing to get used to. But I know change is hard when you've been watching something for a couple decades, but these uniforms are bad.
See, that's just why they need to make the three of us a tripartite commissionership.
Oh, shit.
Yo.
Okay. Hey, it worked for Rome for a little while.
How's that doing these days?
Yeah.
Look, they had a good couple 100 years.
Hey, we right the ship and then we hand it over.
That's right. We restructure things. We set it up the way that it should be, not the way that we would like it to be, the way that it should be.
It should be.
And then we turn it over to the next generation.
That's right.
Until I want to hold on to power.
Well, right. But that's when we assassinate you in the Senate, Julius.
I have a feeling that that empire is probably going to last longer than the United States as we know it.
Do it.
Probably.
I think there's a pretty good possibility. I'm just glad hopefully I won't be around to see it. I'll be watching it from hell next to Art Briles. All right.
What else we got, boys?
That was fun.
Yeah.
We're coming up on an hour. This has actually been pretty fun. It hasn't been too depressing.
We brought the mood up a little bit better.
We did. This is the right way to go into another 2-week break.
It is.
Absolutely.
Buy me a laptop, computer laptop.
That's not the soundbite.
Buy it now.
Shut up. Is that what you were looking for?
No, I was looking for.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
Yeah. Was that your dad that you're referring to?
No.
Or was it the other grandpa?
That's Grandpa Joe.
No.
No, that's Grandpa Rich.
All righty.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay. No, I don't have anything else. I mean, as far as anything else outside of the world of sports, I have obviously I've been on vacation, so I've been a little bit of out of touch with a few things, but I know there's been a little bit of tidbits of news on the Star Wars front, just with some things taking off as far as shows are going to be scheduled to start shooting next year. I know Pete's yawning because it's going to be a streaming thing, and he's so far, I feel like Pete, like 2/3 of the Star Wars streaming things have fallen a little bit short of your expectation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the Bad Batch.
Mm-hmm. You're looking forward to good Star Wars storytelling, which Bad Batch provided.
Yes. And season 3 of Mando.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a bootleg trailer out there just taken at the convention.
I have a good feeling about the Ahsoka show since it is Dave Filoni.
Hey, since we're talking Star Wars, got a couple of deliveries recently.
Oh.
Got the new Death Watch Mandalorian. You got delivered.
Yep.
The 6-inch. Oh wait, I gotta turn on my own self view so that I can see. Oh yeah, sorry. Baseball nerds, go away. Bye.
Yeah, baseball nerds, you're done.
Yep, you're done. And then he delivered earlier than anybody else in the Bad Batch. I don't understand why, but I got Echo.
Oh, I didn't know he was available yet. I've got the other one. I've got all of them except him.
Yeah, I haven't been able to get the other ones. I've pre-ordered them. Although I did get Imperial Crosshair.
No,
I haven't gotten the Bad Batch versions of the others. And then he delivered.
Ooh.
He arrived early.
Oh no, that is so sweet. George Lucas is a stormtrooper.
George Lucas,
that is
stormtrooper.
Awesome.
Hey guys.
There you go.
It's George.
Hey guys. Hey.
Yeah. Melanie put me on a diet.
Very cool.
Stupid costume.
So All those 3 arrived this week, but I'm still waiting on everything else to come in. So it's only
those are addictive, man.
I know.
I know when those. I've stayed on the forefront of those. I probably have over 100 of them up in the kids' toy room up there, just up on shelves. I got all of the Bad Batch early, and they had the Bad Batch version of Crosshair, but I have not picked up the Imperial version. But Echo has not been available until recently, so that's good to see. I'll have to go out and grab that one. I'm a completist sometimes in those little, like the Phoenix Squadron. I had to get all of them. Finally got all of them, and
oh, nice.
And yeah, but it's impossible, man. Like these things expand so quick. It's like baseball cards. They start having special ones out. You can only get them at certain places, and just becomes
like the Favreau Paz Vizsla that sold out in like 12 hours, something like that.
Yeah, there's ones that I just don't care, and Pete, you keep yours in boxes. That's great. I had tampering from my boys years ago where I just gave up and just took them out. So Braden, I pick him up a couple, like usually for his birthday, for Christmas, or throughout the year, and he's kept them in boxes. Even when he was younger.
Really?
So yeah, he's kept them all. He's got. There's no more room in his room, and his mom asked if I'm going to pick more of those up for him each holiday or everything. I'm like, well, you just have to buy bigger shells. More money for daddy. He still gets a cut out of that, right?
Right.
Yeah, you think. Yeah, so I mean, as far as movie news in front, but Pete, in a couple weeks away, like 3 weeks away from the Obi-Wan Kenobi finale, any different feelings on that series, or kind of in the same spot?
The perfect button on it. Boy and I still haven't watched the finale together. I asked him the other day because it's still sitting in the watch queue,
and he's not been interested
on my Apple TV, and I said, "Oh, hey, we haven't watched the finale."
Yeah, Will.
Really?
My son Will, named after Will Clark. He held out for a good week too, before he would sit down and watch it. But I think your boy will like it. I think he'll enjoy that last episode.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's not excited to watch it, that he wasn't like, "Dad, we got to watch this." Yeah. I think that's a pretty good indicator and reinforcement of my take on the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, is he excited for season 3 of Mando though?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't stay on top of things.
No, okay.
The way that we do. He'll watch season 3 of Mando when it's on, and when I tell him, "Hey, buddy, Mando starts next week," he'll be right there with me.
Okay.
If you want to eat tonight, we're watching Mando. You understand? You're gonna sit here and watch it.
That's right.
If you want to eat tonight.
God damn it.
No, he's far more excited about. This weekend, for example, he's far more excited about going to the Model Railroad Club on Saturday and recreating the Amtrak that we rode down.
He's still got that, right? Some kids rotate off of things they like or habits. He's stuck with the train things, hasn't he?
He's stuck with the train thing because he says that's what he wants to do when he grows up. He eventually wants to be qualified enough that he can drive the 7 stars in Japan. And the fact that a 9-year-old knows what the 7 stars in Japan is,
I don't even know. I've never.
I didn't know what it was. I learned from him.
Is that the speed train?
That is the super luxury train that goes from Tokyo to. God, I'm not entirely sure, but it goes along the coast. It's literally a 7-star. Like they've got a 5-star chef in there. It's a 4-day travel. It's not high. I mean, it's higher speed than what you would see around here, but it's not, it's not the Shinkansen. And like the last car has a picture window at the back of it. It's a full car suite and the picture window. So that as you're riding along, you're watching the rails disappear behind you. There are only I think it's 20 engineers in all of Japan who are qualified to drive the thing.
Have you enrolled him in Japanese language?
I was going to say.
So I was actually thinking about that the other day when I was out for one of my 20+ mile bike rides. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to sit down with him and say, is this something you really want to do? Because here's what you're going to need to start doing. And I'm going to have to start doing that research.
Speaking
but also
Japanese.
If you want to drive the Shinkansen, if you want to drive the 7 stars, you're going to have to learn Japanese because they are not all going to speak English with you.
No, they're not.
Those controls are probably not going to be in English.
You're right. They're probably not.
All right. So, you know what? I like it. A dad supporting his sense habit, actually looking in or thinking about, hey, do I need to start, putting this kid in courses where he can actually, speak the language in a place where he wants to pursue a dream. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Wish you were my dad.
Or else.
But okay. I don't have anything else, Pete. If you want to walk us out of here,
nothing.
or should I? I'm
No.
not going to do that.
You're not going to do what? Do back-to-back reads
No,
just
I'm
to
not.
take us out?
Nope.
Elliott, nothing?
Got nothing right now. No.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to comment and subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review. Tell your friends to do the same. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts, as well as Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. So be sure to check out the other Gateway City Sports Network podcasts, including the Derek King Sports Show, Talking Sports in the Bleachers with Don Glenn. Yeah, that's it. You can find Elliott on Twitter at
TOR_Elliott.
and you can contact Ron at
TR_Ron75.
Get in touch with us at the show at teamarivalspodcast.com or on any social media channel at Team Arrivals Pod.
And with that, thanks, Pete, for leading us out. We will be back whenever the hell we feel like it. It won't be next week because it's All-Star Week. So we're just going to take it off because nobody cares. And the
I'm
uniforms
just
are
going to
hideous.
float it out there because we're going to be getting close.
Yeah.
Maybe the 28th. Maybe what will it be? The 3rd. Maybe we'll do a live stream for the like a real one. You get to see our smiling faces again for the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, everyone.
The activity.
All right. We love you all so much. Bye-bye, everyone. Talk to you later.